All right. What's up, y'all? Down here in the sticks. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Today is the 13th of July, 2026. This is a video under our main side, one of the four sides to us as In the Image Clothing Company, where our slogan is allowing the body to work. This top that I'm wearing isn't ideal. We're going to talk about it. This video's title, the 13th of July 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main side, is tags in the side seams of tops. And there's a tag in the side seam of this top. Let's show a visual. Let's talk about this. Why are we a clothing company? What does it mean to be In the Image Clothing Company? Clothing is the only thing physically placed on us. The literal wording of clothing. It can be hats, glasses, jewelry, tops, pants, shoes, socks, undergarments, anything. Even if I take this plant material on the ground and I put it on my shoulder, walk around with it on my shoulder, or a bag over your shoulder, you're clothing your body with these things. So the bones of the body just connect directly through ligaments. There's a thin layer of cushioning between these bones called cartilage so they don't wear each other out. But the body can only ever possibly work one way. There's a lot of opinions in modern 2026 on how to train the body of the human being, how to get it to do something besides what it just already does. But that's always physically impossible unless you change the shape and or length of your bones through maybe a surgical procedure. The vertical pull to gravity meshes with the center line of our bodies. And there's only one way this happens, okay? The center line of the body, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, the jaw, stabilizing the entire human being with lower jaw musculature up to the crown of the head, down to some of the upper ribs, and out to the edges of our shoulders, going through the collars of our tops. We're a clothing company, In the Image Clothing Company, only to allow the body to work. Okay, really, our slogan here under our main side. One of our fourths. Because, yeah, we have even opposing musculature from the center line of the body, connecting into bone. And it meshes with Earth's vertical gravity pull. Earth's vertical gravity pull comes down and meshes with the horizontal surface of the planet Earth. It's a 90-degree right perpendicular angle. It's the same as the bottom of the feet's neutral from lifting up or pointing down, dorsiflexion or plantar flexion. This horizontal surface of the Earth, you can only go up a hill from neutral, and you can only go down a hill from neutral. The wrist can only rise from neutral or drop from neutral. Same with the shoulders, rising from neutral or dropping from neutral. The feet, as I said, lifting from neutral or pointing from neutral. Either flexion of any part of the body has opposing musculature that stabilizes us in this neutral position. So muscles pull on one side from a neutral position, opposing the pull of muscles on the other side, and we stabilize in the neutral because it's the only way the bones connect that are extremely specifically shaped and lengthed in the body in this universal human design, designed in the image of God. In the image of Jesus Christ. Here's your clothing company. Our 5-word company name. In the Image Clothing Company. No spaces between the 5 words. Anyway, clothing has to, at very least, at baseline, stay centered. There's a center line of the body, meshing with Earth's vertical gravity pull. Fit correct. There's joints of material of clothing that need to mesh with joints of body parts. And be made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials, because matter cannot be created or destroyed. We have the same amount of things on this planet Earth that we've always had. God made the planet Earth, and then he made human beings to place onto it. Matter cannot be created or destroyed, as I said, as we say, as it is. And as it is, in modern 2026, today's the 13th of July, there's tags, labeling in our clothing. One of the things we talk about under In the Image Clothing Company is removing all tags from clothing. What's a tag? Well, it's labeling. It's something physically placed into clothing after the fact. okay? In the case of a tag like this, or a label like this, it tells you information about the clothing. It does. A lot of reason as to why is because just tens of years ago, from 2026 and around this time period, today's the 13th of July, they started to make unnatural materials. Like, look at the material this tag's made out of. Plastic, okay? Plastic's an invention of human beings. Cotton isn't. Cotton is a plant material, okay? This shirt, or this top in this video, is made of 100% cotton. All right, just natural plant material. It grows from the earth, even if human beings have nothing to do with it. You know, really. So the actual material of the clothing itself here in this top is natural material, but this is just plastic. Oil, a blend of oil, polyester, probably, poly blends. Man-made. So it doesn't matter what it's made out of, though. Even if this was 100% cotton as well, you've just got this physical thing hanging off your clothing. Now, this shirt is inside out, okay, on how, you know, from how it's intended to be worn, so that I can show what's going on here. But, you know, our bodies truly only ever, and every body who has one, and everyone who has a body, could only work one way. They're all the same. There's a universal human design. You can be slightly different, but only from something, which is the universal human design in this case. Sure, we address differences if and where needed under In the Image Clothing Company to allow the body to work. With our slogan being allowing the body to work under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here. One of our fourths to us, right? In the Image Clothing Company. How many times can I say our company name? Probably a lot. So, tags in the side seams of tops, okay? So this is a side seam, a seam coming down the side of my top. And then this is a tag or a label sticking out. It's just causing a physical gap. It's in the way. Allowing the body to work means not altering the body. Clothing. If we choose to clothe our body with anything, it has to be clothing the body the only way the body's bones connect. The body's just a mechanical machine placed onto this rock in space that is our Earth, and it's just measurable mathematical degrees of hinges, levers, and rotations determined by the shape and length of how these grow by themselves, the bones of the body. It could only ever possibly do one thing. Just what it does. How the bones connect and where they join at the joints of bones, that's where it moves. And that's it. So, the thing is, we get into chronic patterning, okay? We're trying to work around the only thing physically placed onto us because everything we do in our lives, we're doing it in and through the literal word of anything physically clothing our bodies. In this modern man-made world placed onto God's natural earth, there's a lot of imbalances, a lot of universal or fairly universal clothing imbalances shipped across the entire earth in modern 2026 because of the technology we have nowadays in ways that could never have happened in the past. Okay, so here's the thing, you know, the body can get into chronic patterning, just like a pattern of walking, the arms swinging forward and back. Well, that doesn't work, by the way, with a tag in the side seam of a top. This video's title, the 13th of July, 2026, tags in the side seams of tops. Under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here, if you're just walking with your arms swinging forward and back, your legs swinging forward and back, straight forward from the neutral pinky toe and the foot, straight forward with the thumb at the arms, from the rotations, internal rotation or external rotation in the arms, right? The thumb's coming in or out. Neutral is the thumbs pointing forward, and we're just walking. You're just walking, swinging your arms forward and back. But this is one of those imbalances in modern clothing design that just has a thing in the way. Yikes. You know, you can't swing your arm forward and back without hitting it into this tag when your shirt's inside out, right? But it's on the inside of your clothing, and you just don't see it. But it's just the same thing here. It's now against your body, though, if it's on the inside, you know, where it's intended to be with this type of design. The thing is, oversized clothing, let me list off a few things here, okay? is one of those things that gets our bodies into chronic patterning. Okay? We do have joints of material of clothing that need to mesh with joints of body parts, because the bones of the body only connect where they do. Oversized clothing pulls our bodies down to the low end of the neutral position. We've got a lot of videos under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here as of today's date, the 13th of July, 2026, discussing the shoulders and the anatomy of them. We discussed the anatomy of the human body in depth here under In The Image Clothing Company's main site. We're only a clothing company to allow the body to work, and so oversized clothing doesn't. Chronic patterning, scar tissue, bone spurs, problems in the body get built up. When the body's not working the only way the bones connect. Everything having a neutral position and just needing to reside in that, okay? Pockets, zippers, buttons, rotating seams. In The Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification has been done to this top. We've got robots that stitch our clothing nowadays, and they rotate the seams and twist the entire body. On Earth's vertical gravity pull, though, Earth's vertical gravity pull pulls the pendulum of the hand down straight vertical from the other end of the shoulder if our clothing's not rotating us. Okay, so collar seams. In The Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification. We do give a lot of free modifications in clothing to not alter the body, because you have to if clothing comes imbalanced from other people's designs. So yeah, tags though, removing all tags from clothing, that's one of the big things. It's just placed in after the fact of the clothing being made, and it's just physically in the way. Shoelaces, drawstrings, ropes tied on or around the body in any way at all, with one side over the other though, you're twisting the entire human being. Internal rotation on one side of the body and external rotation on the other. And especially living in this right-handed world with 85%, maybe 90% of human beings being right-handed, we twist our bodies. So, In The Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification has also been done to this top. Like I'm saying, this is not an ideal top at all, for many reasons. But for the visual of this video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company on the 13th of July, 2026, today's date, tags in the side seams of tops. Well, this is one of those things. Our bodies, man, get into chronic patterning. This is one of those things that causes it, all right? We've got even opposing musculature from the whole center line of the body. So the shoulders connecting into the center line, evenly opposing the center line of the body, left and right, meshing with Earth's vertical gravity pull. But through everything, you know, we've got a leg on one side of the body and a leg on the other side of the body, below the hips, traveling down to 2 feet, evenly opposing the center line of the human being, gripping arches inward to keep us vertical, with these different length 5 toes in the universal human design that we roll evenly off the ends of to share the weight. What I'm saying is every part of the body has opposing musculature to it. And so in the hips, or the pelvis structure of the human being, we do have musculature like obliques. On the sides of our rib cage here, on the right side and the left side, evenly opposing, we've got muscles that contract, right? Because we can twist our bodies like this. And that's muscles pulling to twist the body, okay? Yeah. What I'm saying is no matter what, anything physically in the way of the body is physically in the way of the body. But where this tag is placed, some of the muscles that it's going to really alter are the core muscles. You know, we discussed the core of the human being here under In The Image Clothing Company's main site and what it really is. And really the core It's just the literal wording of the center, like the core of an apple is just the center part of the apple where the apple stems from and grows from. With the human being, the core is just the center of the body. It's really from like the rib cage area down to the knees. There's muscles coming from the spine down into the pelvis that are core muscles. There's muscles coming from the knees up into the pelvis that are core muscles. On the back of the legs, on the upper legs, and the front of the legs, on the upper legs, and all around the trunk or the torso of the body, like above the hips, but into the rib cage area. You know, without getting too in depth with terminology of what's happening, there's a lot to the core of the human being, and the point is we have to have even opposing musculature from the center line of the body at its vertical support at the bone, which is the spine above the hips, directly in the center line of the body, meshing with Earth's vertical gravity pull. And so there's just musculature on either side of the body. So either side of the body that we have a tag in the side seam of a top. Okay, this video is titled the 13th of July 2026 under In The Image Clothing Company's main side. Tags in the side seams of tops. Well, it's just in the way of the body. And so, you know, I mean, imagine having like a piece of a plant inside your clothing. You know, I talk about how tags or labeling in clothing are just like having a leaf in your clothing. I mean, look at this. Isn't this insane? The kind of modern man-made world we live in. So, I mean, if I had this shirt on the way that they've intended it to be worn, inside out of how it's currently worn, this labeling would just be against my body. And it's just about the exact same shape and length as this leaf right here. I could just stick this leaf inside my clothing and go throughout my life. Okay. So that's really what's happening, right? There's a lot of things in modern day. Living in this modern man-made world. Oh, this is humbling. I'm almost crying for real. Truth is truth. Yeah, that cause us to be physically weak people. There's a video's title under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here currently titled Physically Weak People. And there's a lot of things in modern 2026 and going forth because of the man-made part of our world placed onto God's natural earth that damage our bodies. And this is one of them. A tag in the side seam of tops. Okay? It's just in the way. So, I mean, imagine having that leaf that I had here in my hand. It's right here still. Just stuck inside my t-shirt. I'd be walking around throughout the day and being like, whoa, trying to get this leaf away from my skin and my body. But it's stuck between my clothing item and my skin and my body. The skin is an organ. It's called the epidermis. Unnatural materials like this, in this tag or this label, in the side seam of this top, they can poison the body. It's plastic. It's oil pumped from the earth and refined through man-made technology. Our skin, called the epidermis, it is an organ. It's got holes in it called pores. That's where perspiration or sweat comes out from, but things go into the body as well. So this poison is truly poisonous to the body. I mean, imagine eating this. I could eat that leaf and be entirely fine. If I eat this tag, well, this is poison. I might be okay, but it shouldn't be in my body. It shouldn't be on your body. It shouldn't be against your skin. It really shouldn't. And it shouldn't be just physically in the way either, just causing a gap. The point is, tags in the side seams of tops, this video's title, under In The Image Clothing Company's main side, on the 13th of July 2026, they're just damaging our bodies. It'll make you physically weak, because what makes you physically strong is not what a lot of people think. You don't need to go to the gym and do all these exercises and workouts in random positions your body doesn't do in normal daily life anyway. Or maybe positions your bones don't actually even mesh in, but you're just trying. to work out. And we don't know what we don't know. We can't be held accountable for what we don't know. But this is where In The Image Clothing Company comes in, because we don't know, if we don't, that there's even tags in our clothing that are just in the way and damaging our bodies. You might not even notice it. You just become so accustomed to it because it's in almost every t-shirt or top, even a dress or whatever, you know, in modern 2026. It's labeling. These unnatural materials have to be labeled because they're poisonous. It also tells you where it was made and how to wash it and the branding and all these things that it tells you on the labeling or the tag of the clothing. The tag in the side seams of tops. This video's title, the 13th of July 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here. But what does make you strong, right, as I'm saying, is being able to stand up vertical on Earth's vertical gravity pull. That makes you stable. If you have one side pulling, all muscles do is pull, and then the other side pulling, then we can stay stable, vertical, because one side of the body's muscles connects into the center line of it, and the other side of the body's muscles connect into the center line of it, and we're stable. If the two opposing sides to the center line of the human being on Earth's vertical gravity pull's center line are pulling evenly. But let's say you've got a tag in the side seams of tops. This video's title on the 13th of July 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main side, placed on only one side of your body that has even opposing musculature. From the center line of not just the body, but universal laws that are outside of all of us. Gravity, right? Physics, mathematics, God's truth. He designed the earth and this body of flesh, blood, and bone that's just a mechanical machine. There's something in the way. If you've got something in the way. In The Image Clothing Company's main side slogan here is allowing the body to work. It's not about getting the body to do anything. It only does what it does. The bones are already just connected to each other, but they only work how they work. And there's a tag in the side seams of tops. In modern 2026, it's in the way. So, yeah, you've got these muscles of the core, you know, up here above the hip bones, but below the lowest ribs where the pants sit. At our natural waist, the only way you can possibly bend side to side without a foot coming off the ground. At the spine, okay? Because it's in the center line of the body, above the hips, and the legs need to both stay on the ground because they evenly oppose the center line below the hips. So we bend at the natural waist, but if you've got something in the way of your natural waist, a tag, you're going to be bent off to the side because it's just in your way, pushing you off to one side. And you know what Earth's vertical gravity pull is always doing is staying vertical. And you know what the spine of the human being is always doing is staying in the center line of the body, regardless of what's on one side only of the body, like a tag in the side seam of tops. Which just so happens to be this video's title on the 13th of July 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main side. So, removing all tags from clothing. The thing is, it's either above your hip bone and just against your side, at your natural waist, you know, or it's down on your glutes, like this little glute medius muscle right here, it really stabilizes the hips and adducts, well, that's abduction, abducts the leg, pulls the leg out. But also that just aids in the feet gripping the ground too and just working naturally, because the feet are just as much the hips as the hand is the shoulder. You know, we straighten the elbow between the hand and shoulder, and as long as the entire body is just working and not altered by something, which God designed the body to work, and it just does that if and or until altered. Yeah, the body just works all together, and so we straighten the elbow, and the hand and shoulder do the exact same thing. We straighten the knee, though, between the foot and the hip, and the whole leg does the exact same thing. And not if there's something not allowing these glute muscles to fully work to stabilize the body, because there's something physically in the way, let's say. For the foot to work, the hip has to work. For the hip to work, the foot has to work. It's just a chain. Of bones. The body, it's a kinetic chain. It's just all the bones connecting, and that's all it is. This doesn't allow that to happen. The body to work. The body can't work with a tag in the side seams of tops. So anyway, remove all tags from clothing. There's no possible opinion to the need to that being one. That is a need. It's a must. You have to. I mean, you don't have to care about clothing. You don't have to care about fashion by any means. But you don't have to care to even want to try to care to be intentional about your clothing. It's the only thing physically placed on your physical body. Your physical body is placed on this physical rock in space we call Earth. And there's only one way it works. It's just determined by the bones. But you've got a tag in the way of your body working. So, you know, it's taking the entire body to some degree to stabilize. And every single breath we take, the rib cage, wow, be careful with yourself. Seriously, I mean it. Expanding and contracting in 360 degrees, meaning just all the way around. Every breath we take, the whole body has to stabilize because this is a lot of motion happening. And you know where this motion is happening is right next to where this tag is, in the side seams of our tops. Okay. I mean, I'm not exaggerating about the amount of motion being a lot in the rib cage when it's just working naturally. Let me try this. Let me try to breathe all the way out, like for the visual, really. I mean it. This is going to be a good thing to show. I'm gonna breathe in all the way from all the way out, and so you can see how much expansion really happens in the rib cage. And the point is, there just needs to be an even space. You know, clothing has to fit nice and snug, but an even space left to right for the arms to just hang at the sides of the body with just Earth's vertical gravity pull. It's just a pendulum, the whole arm, right? If the body's not altered, stemming at the feet, zero drop, determine any brand of shoe, keeping the feet just flat on the horizontal surface of the planet Earth. Okay, neutral from dorsiflexion or plantar flexion, lifting up or pointing down of the toes. Just flat shoe soles, the feet just working as if they're allowed to. The only way they ever could. Designed by God, we don't have a say. But man-made shoe designs, you know, we've got heels on shoes to elevate the foot's heel. It's just a wedge, constantly pointing or plantar flexing our foot, which just changes the whole body, right? But gravity has a vertical pull. Our bodies have even mathematical opposing bends back and forth from the ankles up to the neck, opposing Earth's vertical gravity pull. The ankles bend backward, the knees bend forward, the hips bend backward, the low back bends forward, the mid back bends backward, the upper back, just the neck or the cervical spine, it bends forward, And that's how we just stay standing up on Earth's vertical gravity pull. But anyway, there's just something in the way. If you've got tags in the side seams of tops. This video's title, the 13th of July, 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here, okay? Spoken by me, Evan Strong, the founder and leader for life of In The Image Clothing Company. You've got to remove it. You have to remove this tag. Any labeling at all, anything sticking out, protruding, in the way, physically causing a gap in your clothing, between your clothing and your body. And this is also just imbalanced. It's only on one side. So what I'm saying is, let's breathe. Really, watch this. I'm going to breathe out all the way and then just watch how much expansion happens in my rib cage. And just notice it has to evenly expand on both sides and evenly contract on both sides, because it's evenly connecting into the center line of the body, which is physical, immovable by itself bone that meshes with the vertical pull to gravity that's universal. So there's no opinion. I don't have some kind of breakthrough or new information, but we've got new things that we've invented as a human race that damage our bodies, like tops, tags in the side seams of tops. This video is titled, the 13th of July, 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site. Watch me breathe. Really, watch the motion. And just notice, this would be in the way if this shirt wasn't inside out. This tag will normally be between your clothing and your body if you're wearing this shirt the way that they've designed it to be worn, because the tags aren't placed where they're seen normally when you're wearing the clothing, the labeling. In modern 2026, no way. Instead, they just place it against your body. We don't know what we don't know. I get it, right? We can't be held accountable for what we don't know. I wore tags in my clothing until I was about 24 years old. Personally, Evan Strong, the founder and leader for life of In The Image Clothing Company, when I speak as bold as I do, I was making just about all the same mistakes that we say not to until I knew not to, but also I just didn't know anything that I didn't know until I did. Watch me breathe. Ready? Right, I mean, that's a lot of motion. I mean, like literal inches left and right of expansion of the rib cage when we breathe in all the way, or inhale all the way from being exhaled all the way, or breathing out all the way, which there has to be just physical room. It's as real as it gets. If you've got a tag in the way, a label in the way, something physically causing a gap, tags in the side seams of tops. This video's title on the 13th of July, 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here. It's not going to allow you to breathe, which is the essence of human life. Oxygen. There's only one way the human body could ever work. So, follow my lead. Right? No, like I'm saying, I personally, Evan Strong, the founder and leader for life of In The Image Clothing Company, didn't remove tags from my clothing either until I was like 24 years old. So, don't think you're doing something wrong. Like, when you hear information, especially spoken by how boldly I speak often, you know, coming from me, this sounds like you should know better, or no, we don't know, right? I mean, we buy clothing from other people that made our clothing. Why are we going to have to buy something from someone that they made to be used and then modify it before it even works okay for our bodies, the only way the bones of our bodies connect? Right? Snip, snip, cut the tags out. You have to remove all tags from your clothing. Whew. You have to. I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you how the universal human design is put together by God. It grows by itself. And I know the anatomy of the human body in depth. We discussed the anatomy of the human body in depth here under In The Image Clothing Company's main site. We give a lot of free modifications in clothing to not alter the body. This is not modifying your clothing, though. When we're talking about tags, labeling in clothing, it's a secondary thing. This has nothing to do with the clothing. It's just telling you about the clothing. It's got to be removed. So anyway, you know, another thing is it's not going to stick out like this in between your body and your clothing. It's going to just go one direction or the other. And so now you've got your body going one direction or the other, you know, meaning this is just going to rest between your body and your clothing, and then it's just going to move your body just because it's got to go somewhere. It's inside your clothing, and your body's trying to avoid it. Your whole spine's twisting. It does not get more real. Don't go on runs and do all this random cardio and go to the gym and try to eat excessively healthy to where you're going across the earth or having somebody ship you things from across the earth that are just like these superfoods. God designed the body to work. We just can't alter it. Just remove the tags from your clothing. We talk about a lot of other things in clothing that'll just have, you know, an immense effect on how the body can work and just not allow it to. There truly is only one way the human body could ever work. But, you know, I mean, everything is done in and through clothing. Literal wording. Your clothing, your body with something, if there's something physically placed on you, so remove the tag. There's more anatomy explanation that I could give on what it's doing to the body throughout, because it'll travel to the tip of your toes, up to the tip of your head, and out to the tips of your fingers, since the body is just all connected. It's a kinetic chain. Right? Yeah. You know, we talk about what we talk about for a reason, so cut those tags out. Anywhere, everywhere placed in clothing but this video's title, the 13th of July, 2026. Tags in the side seams of tops. Under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here, this will damage your body. It'll push your jaw off to the side, just because it's pushing your spine off to the side, and your spine comes up to the base of your skull, and your jaw is stabilizing your skull on top of your head, but also just the entire body as well. The feet will have a hard time working because you have to evenly oppose the center line of the body with the feet arches gripping inward to stay stable. And if there's something just in the way, you can't evenly oppose the center line of your body if your body is off-centered with something only on one side of it, you know, with a tag just in the way. You know, I mean, even if you had a tag on either side, now you're like not able to breathe because you can't expand. There's just something in the way, but it'll just drop the body into external rotation, you know, and the body just can't support itself if it can't. The only way the body can support itself is being evenly mathematically opposing the vertical pull to gravity. That's just how it works. Right? So there you go. Yeah. Check out the other 3 sides of In The Image Clothing Company if you'd like to. Man, I mean, this video is huge. It's huge. It's just another date-marked documentation under any of the 4 sides that it is of In The Image Clothing Company at the time. But in this case, it's under our main side. In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, In The Image Clothing Company podcast with discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're on episode 209 as of today's date of In The Image Clothing Company podcast, the 13th of July, 2026. It's just deep insights on life, just deep discussions on this existence we have as this universal human design, this human race. It's a human place. The planet Earth is where we're placed. From death to birth, if you'd like to say. Things backward. Anyway, In the Image Clothing Company music, another one of our forwards, we do rhythm and poetry, spoken word, lyricism, singing, guitar playing, geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ with the messages. We show the sizing and setup of guitar as well to not alter the body. The neutral wrist, for example, straight out from the outside of the forearm, down and out that pinky finger, is just the only way the bones connect in line of the entire arm, stemming from the fingertips up to the shoulder. So, different length, 4 fingers wrapping evenly around a different length, opposable thumb. Different length, 5 toes in the feet. This universal human design has some things that we cannot alter, or we alter. And so remove all the tags from your clothing. It doesn't matter where they're at, but this one specifically is doing a lot of the things that I discussed in this video and more, but thank you. The state of Utah, the United States of America, is where we're based, as in the Image Clothing Company. We do things in nature, in-person events, things with the dogs over on In the Image Clothing Company poodles, information applying to all dogs, but specializing in the large or standard size purebred poodle. We'll breed poodles down in St. George, Utah. That's where we're actually based, but check us out. Thank you.